so blanket if you would like to start seated, you can fold it in half, or if you have a pillow, you can sit on top of that. And cross your legs, either placing one foot in front of the other, or kind of one shin bone in front of the other, or you can sit up in a chair if that's more comfortable too. And let's start just checking in with how we feel this morning. So if it's appropriate, you can close your eyes. Take a deep breath and just let it out the mouth in an effort to settle your energy, settle yourself. And then breathe naturally as you scan your whole body, your mind, your mood, all of your energies, to see how you are today. So physically you might feel heavy, light, you might notice some pain or some pleasure in different areas of your body. You could feel sluggish, you could feel motivated and awake. There might be a strong emotion that you're experiencing. Your thoughts could be quick, or they might be few and far between. And anything else on that spectrum. Notice your breath, in and out through the nose if you can. And this is in an effort to try to conduct our energy so we feel more balanced. We use the breath as a tool to balance ourselves. And I'm going to read a short little passage here so you can just sit and breathe and relax. And this is a quotation from Sadhguru, who is a yoga teacher at the Isha Foundation in India. And he says, yoga means to be in perfect tune. Body, mind, and spirit and the existence are in absolute harmony. When you fine-tune yourself to a point where everything functions so beautifully within you, the best of your abilities will naturally flow out of you. So that's the point of why we do this, is just to feel like we're operating at our highest self, and we can be as creative and as expansive as we want, anytime we want. Join your hands together in front of your chest, acknowledging however you feel right now, whatever your energy level is. And if it's not how you would like to feel, you can set the intention for what it is that you'd like to feel. And just repeat that silently. And then take a deep breath in through your nose. And once again, let it out your mouth. And then rub your hands together and warm yourself up. So you're creating energy right here in the form of heat. And then once your hands are warmed, cover your eyes. Blink your eyes open. And then take your hands back down in front of your chest. Namaste and good morning again. All right, so we'll begin with a pranayama or a breath technique, which is a little bit stimulating. So if you feel lightheaded or anxious when you do this breath, you don't have to. You can just skip it altogether or do it very slowly. But it will be a 2-part inhale and a 2-part exhale. And you'll breathe in through the nose twice, and then exhale out the mouth twice. So one cycle will be like this. And we'll do 5 of those, 2 rounds, and with a break in between. So just start by taking a deep breath in, and let it out your mouth. And then when you're ready, inhale through the nose twice, exhale through the mouth twice. and continue. 4 more times. And take a break, breathe naturally. And just observe the quality of your energy after 1 round. So if that made you warm, lightheaded, a little bit nervous, take a break for as long as you need. And you don't have to do it again if you don't want to. But we'll start round 2 if you're ready. So take a deep breath in, nice and easy through the nose. Let it out your mouth. And when you're ready, 5 times. Inhale, exhale. And relax, you're done. Observe. That also gets your diaphragm moving a little more than what is natural for most of us, so you can feel really oxygenated from that breath. And take 1 more breath just to settle. Let the effects dissipate. And then open your eyes if they were closed. This time stretch your arms out and up as you breathe in. Reach to your highest point, spread your fingers wide, and then exhale, allow your arms to relax down beside you. And we'll do that twice more. So this is more of a settling, grounding breath. Inhale, reach out and up. Feel your full stretch, and then exhale, just relax your efforts. Once more, inhale, reach wide. Maybe look up if that's safe for your neck, and exhale, look forward or down. Okay, now we'll move through some cat and cow. So you could do this seated with your hands in your lap, or you can come onto all 4s. Seated, you'll inhale, reach your chest forward over your shoulders and your arms, maybe look up. And exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin, and look down towards your belly. And we'll do a few rounds of that at your own pace. So you can stay seated, arching your spine back and forth, or you can come onto hands and knees, maybe using your blanket for a little extra cushion under your knees or your hands. Align your palms under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and then take a breath in, reach your chest forward, head tilts, tail tilts, and exhale, tuck your chin, tuck your tail, push into the floor to round your spine. And then again, open up through the front of your body, and exhale, stretch through the back of your body. Couple more rounds. In every little movement, we are tuning or refining our energy. So hopefully you feel better with each stretch or each strengthening exercise that we do. And then come back to a tabletop and sit back into a child's pose. So if you were seated upright in a chair, you can fold your upper body over your thighs. Otherwise, walk your hands forward and open your knees a little bit wider just to allow your belly to come in between the thighs and sink towards the floor a little more easily. If your head reaches the floor, you can rest it there on your forehead. If it doesn't, you can make fists with your hands and place your forehead on top of your hands, like a little pillow. And take a few breaths, feeling the back of your lungs expand and open as you breathe in. Let your hips sink towards your feet. And let your pelvic floor widen as you breathe in and narrow as you breathe out. Now stretch your hands forward and walk them a few inches off to the right. So your hands could even come to the outside of your right knee if you have the flexibility. And you're just angling your torso to the side and then allowing the head to come back down. And it might even just hover here. And take a few breaths opening up through the left side of your body, from the armpit all the way down through the hip. And then slowly make your way off to the other side, to the left. So your hands could stay wide apart, even wider than shoulder distance if you like, or they could come closer together. Lean towards your left thigh, and now open up the right side of your torso. And feeling the ribs separate as the lung expands. And take one more breath. And then come back to center, walk your hands back in, and we'll move into a Cobra position on the belly. So if this is not appropriate, you could do a variation seated, which would be sitting up tall, and as you breathe in, slide your hands back and lift your chest, arching your spine, maybe looking up, and that would be your Cobra. But if you want to come down onto your belly, make your way onto the floor. Stretch your legs long behind you, and then place your hands under your shoulders or thereabouts, elbows drawn into your sides. Now you can rest your forehead on the floor, and then when you breathe in, lift your shoulder heads away from the ground, push your pubis, the front of your pelvis, into the floor, and take your head and your chest away from the floor as well. So you're curving your spine away from the ground and contracting the muscles right in between the shoulder blades. And then take an exhale, lower your head, lower your chest and your shoulders. And we'll do that again. Push into the tops of your feet. Find some stability there with your legs. Lift your head, your chest, your shoulders away from the floor. And then wait for your exhale and just ride the breath back down. One more time. And this could be a really small movement. Does not have to mean you come off the ground quite a bit. Exhale, lower down. Now we're going to come back into a child's pose and stretch that out. So if you need to, you can prop on your forearms, and one arm at a time, walk your elbows back in and make your way into Balasana again. And just notice the difference once you get there. You might feel a little more flexibility in your spine, or just more aware of your upper back. Take one more breath. And with your next inhale, walk your hands in, come up, and we'll move into some lunges. So this, you might want your blanket under the kneecaps and your blocks for your hands. So I'm going to use both of those props. Okay, and if you have traditional yoga blocks, you have 3 different heights that you can try out to see what works best for you. I'm going to go on the highest. Step your right foot forward. Place your blocks on either side of your front foot, so your arms frame your foot, and align your knee directly on top of your heel, and aim your knee over the center of your foot like it can trace the line between your second and third toe. Okay? And then you can walk your left knee back as much as you like to feel an opening across the front of your left thigh and your pelvis. Now, if this is too sensitive for your knee, you can tuck your toes and lift your knee off the ground, which requires more energy, so just be aware of that. This is more challenging. Otherwise, your knee is resting on the floor. Take a breath in here, lift your chest, relax your shoulders. And then exhale, reach your hips back. Start to straighten your front leg any amount. And come into a hamstring and a calf stretch for your right leg. So your toes come off the floor, you rock onto your heel. And you may need to move the blocks back in order to better balance. So if you're doing this with the knee off the ground, it will look something like this. And slowly dip back into your lunge, let the pelvis sink, lift your chest up, breathe in. And exhale, go back into your hamstring stretch. And we'll do this one more time, just moving in and out. Inhale, rock forward into your lunge. Use your hands to support you. And exhale, reach your hips back to stretch out whole back seam of this front leg. Okay, come forward and switch sides. So now your left foot steps forward. Blocks frame the foot. Point the toes straight up. And align the knee, not only over the heel, but also over the center of your foot so it's not wandering in or out. And that's just going to protect your joint. Now if you want a deeper stretch, you take your knee further back and your hips sink lower. And this largely depends on the flexibility of your hip flexors, your psoas. If your knee is sensitive, tuck the toes, lift it off the ground. Stay here, one more breath, inhale, and exhale, shift back into a hamstring stretch. So the sole of the foot rocks off the floor, you come onto your heel, spread your toes, and straighten this leg as much as you need to feel the hamstrings and the calf muscle lengthening. Inhale, come back into your lunge, with or without the knee on the ground, and exhale, pull your hips back for your hamstring stretch. One more time. Relax your shoulders, your face, your jaw. Exhale, lean back. Okay, now transition, step your front foot to meet, or back foot to meet your front foot. Move your blocks forward, about half a foot in front of you. Hands on top of the blocks, bend your knees and fold over your legs into Utkatasana or intense pose. You can separate your feet wider here, especially if your legs are stiff. Take them a little bit wider than hip width. And bend your knees, you can get as generous as you like, so you don't feel any sharp tugging, especially behind the knee joint. Let your head hang. You can slowly nod it, yes and no, to relax your neck. Deliberate breaths. Next time you inhale, lift your chest up halfway. Look forward, draw your shoulders back, and then exhale, fold back down, tuck your chin. Now we'll come up to stand, push into your feet, bend your knees, take your hands just beside you, let the arms hang, and bring yourself all the way up. All right, now you can move your props out of the way, except for one block if you would like. And the block we're going to place in between the thighs, above the knees. Okay, and this is acting as an energy grounder. Just by gripping the block with your thighs, you can kind of navigate and direct your tailbone down and feel more stability in your legs, more grounded down through your feet. So squeeze the block once it's there. Press down through the four corners of your feet, which is the base of the big toe, base of the pinky toe, and the inner and outer heel. And then imagine a plumb line through both legs, and your energy is just flowing right down through the legs and back into the earth. Relax your shoulders, maybe loop them up and around a few times, and then let them settle. Take your head a little bit side to side, and then once it feels weightless, close your eyes and stand tall here in Utkatasana, mountain pose. Notice the quality of energy within you. Notice your breath. Open your eyes. Leave the block where it is. Inhale, stretch your arms out and up, reach tall. And exhale, bend your knees, spread your arms wide, and lean forward, bringing your hands to your thighs, your shins, or to the floor. Drop your head. Keep squeezing the block. Inhale, come up halfway. Look forward. Bottom goes back, chest forward. Exhale, fold back down. Push into your feet. Squeeze the block with your thighs. Come all the way up. Spread your arms and lift. Exhale, arms to your sides. Relax your shoulders. We'll do 2 more of these half sun salutations. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, bring all of your length forward and over your legs to stretch out the back. Inhale, come up halfway. Look forward, belly moves away from your thighs. And exhale, descend. Tuck your chin, lengthen through the neck. Push into your feet, find stability through the lower half of your body, loftiness through the top half of your body. Exhale, arms to your sides. And one more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold forward. Relax your face, tuck your chin. Inhale, halfway. Find length. Exhale, back down. Push into your feet. Inhale, come up. And exhale, part your arms and return to Tadasana. Okay, take the block out just for a second. And you might even feel the imprint still there in your legs. So this is also good if you have a tendency to turn one leg out when you stand or when you walk. Using the block is going to help to neutralize your thighs inside your hip sockets and correct some of those imbalances, because over time that can pull on your lower back and your hips. So this is also a useful tool therapeutically. So we'll use it again, this time for Utkatasana or chair pose. Go back in between the thighs. I'm going to turn to the side. And this posture is just imagining there's a chair behind you and you're going to squat down as if to sit into it. So your hands can come to your hips. Take a breath in, stand tall. And then exhale, bend your knees, reach your hips back, lean your chest forward. Take a peek down at your knees and just make sure they're not in front of your toes, so you could still see the tops of your feet. And then when you're ready, come back up to stand. So simple as that. We're going to do that twice more. Hands at your hips. Inhale. Exhale. Squat down. Reach your bottom back. Sink the weight into your heels. Inhale, come up. And exhale again. Squat down. And come up. So if this is pretty comfortable for you, now you can add the arms. Inhale, reach your arms forward to shoulder height or a little higher. Exhale, arms back by your sides. Twice more. Inhale. Keep squeezing the block. Exhale. And one more time. Good. Now last variation, we'll come down. This time, reach your arms back beside you or a little bit behind your ribs and engage the back of your arms, your triceps. So you could either do this by turning your palms back and pushing them isometrically into some resistance, or you could make a fist with your hand and help fire up these muscles. So you're squeezing them, pressing your arms in towards your sides and contracting the back of the arm. Take 2 more breaths. One more time, sink the weight into your heels. And come up, release the block, take a break. You can put it down, shake it out. And you may have broken a sweat, because I definitely did doing that. All right. Now we'll open up the legs a little bit. So take the feet wide apart and turn your right toes out to the short edge of your mat if you're using one. Your left toes in, so they angle about 45 degrees. Now align your front heel to your back arch, and then bend your knee into a lunge. Again, parking it on top of the heel and making sure it tracks over the center of your foot. Definitely not towards the big toe. Okay? And this is Warrior 2 stance with the legs. Inhale, now take your arms out to the sides. Now we're in the full pose, Virabhadrasana B. You can turn your gaze over your front hand, looking at your middle finger. And breathe here. Stamp both of your feet down, but more specifically, your right heel and the outer edge of your left foot. Open your chest towards the long edge of your mat. And breathe as if you could expand your arms even longer, taking up more space, more of a wingspan. Breathe into the back of your lungs, the sides, the bottom, the top. Omnidirectional breath. And when you're ready, lower the arms, straighten your front leg, pivot your feet, and go to the other side. So back into Warrior 2 stance, heel to back arch, turn your back foot in slightly to get your hip to turn towards that top corner of your mat, and then bend the knee to where it's comfortable. The lower you go, the more your thigh muscles have to engage. Make sure you can see the big toe on the inside of your thigh. And then stay here, arms go wide. If your shoulders are tired, turn your palms up and give them a little break here. Every exhale, maybe you try to sink 1 millimeter lower towards the ground, bending your knee slightly more. Every inhale, find more buoyancy from your torso up. Take one more breath. And exhale, lower your arms, straighten your legs, and go back to the first side. So now this time, we'll try triangle pose or Trikonasana. If you want to use your blocks or a chair, you could have your front foot in front of a chair seat, or your block or blocks stacked on the inside or outside of your foot. And the height you'll kind of have to play with to see what works best for you. Okay, same positioning of the feet. Right heel bisects the left arch. Soft bend in the knee. Reach your arms out wide. Breathe in, stand tall. And then exhale, lean forward with your torso. Reach past your toes. And when you can't go any further, bring your hand to your thigh, your shin, or your blocks, or your chair seat, whatever you're holding on to for support. And I need to scooch mine in a little closer. And then take your left hand to your hip, roll your chest, your rib cage open, and if it's comfortable, you can stretch that arm up in line with your shoulder. And turn your palm towards your ear or even back behind you. And take a few breaths here. Shift a little more weight to the outer edge of your back foot. Breathe long through both sides of your torso and fan yourself out, wide open. One more breath. And then come up, push into your feet, and we'll pivot to the other side. So if you needed blocks or a chair, you could switch feet or shift your props to the other side as well. Okay, heel to arch. Oh, let me put this behind so you can see. Heel to arch alignment. Little bend in the knee, still tracking over the center of the foot. Breathe the arms out wide. Lengthen your spine. And exhale. Feel like you're in tug of war. Reach, reach, reach until you can't anymore. Then take your hand down to blocks or use your leg as your shelf. Other hand comes to your hip. Roll your chest open so you're twisting through your spine. And then if that's comfortable, arm can prop up. If this doesn't feel good, you could also park your fingers on your shoulder. And take a few breaths. Noticing the kind of energy this pose fosters. For me, it's pretty stimulating. So it's a good pose to do in the morning if you're feeling tired or you need a little pick-me-up throughout the day. Probably not the best if you're about to go to sleep. One more breath. And then press into the feet, hinge up, move your blocks out of the way. Bring your feet together, shake it out for a second. Okay, and then we'll come into some lunges. So for this variation, we're going to work towards a pose that we haven't done in this class yet. So you might like to use your blocks or a chair or a wall, and you would face whichever props you're using. So I'm going to use blocks. We'll step the right foot forward, take the left foot back, and come into a high lunge. Your hands can start at your hips. Look down at your feet. Right foot is in the right lane, left foot in the left lane, and they're about hip width apart or a little bit wider if you need more stability. Okay, does not matter how low you bend into this thigh, just do what's comfortable for you. Drop the tail, lift yourself up, roll your shoulders back, standing tall. Take one more breath. And switch. Okay, left foot forward, right foot back. So we're just getting the hang of the basics here before we add on. Make sure your feet are hip width apart. Both feet point straight forward. Drop your tailbone, engage the belly muscles for a little extra balance. Roll your shoulders back. And stand here, just breathing. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Okay, now switch sides. Now we'll add on, so it gets a little more interesting. You could stay in this first variation, or if this is pretty comfortable, you start to lean forward, bring your arms down by your sides, just like we did with that chair pose, and engage the back of your arms, the triceps, squeezing them in towards the ribs, using a fist if you need to. So you're leaning your torso past your knee, maybe looking out past your toes. Your seat or your blocks are there if you need to catch yourself for balance. Feel the weight shifting more towards your right foot now. That's okay. One more breath. You're building strength in this front thigh. And then come back up and change sides. Left foot forward, right foot back. Same procedure. Starting here in your high lunge. Or if you'd like, lean your torso forward. Keep your spine long. Arms go beside you. Engage the triceps. So you're streamlining yourself. Feel the weight bearing more on your front thigh. Sink it down into the heel. Really root down through that foot. Take one more breath. And come up. Last variation. Go back to the first side. Right foot forward, left foot back. Stage 1. Stage 2. And if you'd like to get fancy here, you lean forward so much that your hands come to your blocks or your chair seat. You shift the weight into your right foot and your left foot just magically pops off the ground. So you're balancing here in Warrior 3. You could be a few inches off the floor. You might be up to hip height, doesn't really matter. Push back through that lifted leg. Spread your toes and breathe here. Use the blocks or your chair for balance. This is requiring a lot of stability in your standing leg and hip. Take one more breath. Step your left foot down and change sides. Okay, so back to your lunge. There's no hierarchy here either, so you just do what's the most appropriate. Stand, lean, or if you'd like to test your balance, arms can come to your blocks or chair. Shift your weight forward. If it feels safe to bear weight on one leg, start to lift the right leg up and flex the foot. Direct your energy backward. Look down at one point on the ground. Take one more breath. Step that foot down. Slowly come up. Shake it out. Move your blocks off to the side. And the hard part is over. Okay. We'll come to the floor now. So all of those poses might look a little bit fancy, but they do great things to stabilize your hips. So that's part of the function of them. So you can have a seat and sit your bottom on your folded blanket, especially if you have a tendency to slouch when you sit up. This can help roll your pelvis forward so your spine can keep its natural curves intact. And have a strap handy if you like. So we'll practice Janu Sirsasana, which is head to knee pose, although you don't have to bring your head to your knee. We're just going to try to connect the dots in some way. So bring your right foot to your left inner thigh. If you're familiar with tree pose, it kind of looks like a tree pose, only in a seated position. From the front, it would be something like this. Okay, so this could be your pose here, sitting up nice and tall. If you need support for your outer right hip, you have blocks that you could place under your thigh or grab a pillow, especially if the knee is hovering. If you'd like to use your strap, sling it over your left foot. Pull back on your reins, lift your chest up, and then turn your belly button and your chest towards your knees. There's a little bit of a twist. Breathe in. And exhale, begin to lean forward. Only go as far as you can without rounding your lower back. Keep your lumbar spine long. And you might feel a calf stretch, a hamstring stretch, hip stretch, even a back stretch. So it's really multi-purpose. Relax your face, relax your shoulders, and start to slow your breath down. So the rest of the poses have a more calming or sedating effect on the nervous system. One more breath. Bring yourself back up and change sides. The right leg goes out, left foot comes to your inner thigh or really anywhere on the inside of your leg, even at the calf is fine. So it could look like that. Doesn't have to be hiked up towards your groin. Prop underneath your hip, or your thigh, I should say, if your hip feels tight and your knee is hovering. Okay. You can sit up tall here, keeping this leg straight, lengthening through your spine, relaxing your shoulders. If you'd like to lean forward, loop the strap around the ball of the foot, When you're ready, breathe in. Exhale, turn your navel towards your knee, adding a little twist, and then start to lean forward if it's appropriate. And keep your lumbar spine long, maintaining that curve in your low back. Slow and low breaths. One more inhale. One more exhale here. And when you're ready, bring yourself up. Okay. And we'll do one more pranayama before we come to relax on our backs and stretch before we take Savasana. So if you like to sit in a chair or on a blanket, do what you need to be comfortable. And we'll practice Nadi Sodhana, or alternate nostril or nerve cleansing breath. It's called a few different things. And this is a way to calibrate your energy. So we think of the right nostril, or the right side of us, as associated with solar or stimulating energy, and the left nostril or left side, lunar or feminine, kind of calming energies. And we'll breathe through one nostril at a time to balance both of those. So you can take either hand and fold your index and middle finger in. So you're left with your pinky and ring and your thumb. And then you're going to slide those fingers down the bridge of your nose so they each can control the flow of air through the corresponding nostril. Take a breath in here through both nostrils. And exhale. Now close your left nostril gently. Breathe in through your right. Close your right nostril. Exhale through your left. Breathe in through your left when you're ready. And when you're ready, close your left, breathe out through the right. And that constitutes one cycle. We'll do 4 more in your own time. Breathe through the right. Pause. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right when you're ready. Exhale left. Inhale left. And exhale right. When you're ready, breathe in right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. One more round if you like. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale on your left side. And finish with an exhale on your right. Relax your hand, return to normal breathing. And observe the quality of energy within you. And that's a great breath technique to do anytime you are feeling anxious or stressed. You need a break, moment to relax, and it lends itself well to meditation afterwards if you're going to practice meditation. But for now, we'll come onto our back, so you can blink your eyes open and help your way onto your back, slowly and gently. And then once you get there, spread your arms out wide into a T shape. Bend your knees, feet flat to the floor, and just let your knees shift off to the right. And maybe turn your head towards your left armpit. And take a few breaths here, decompressing and unwinding. Relax your shoulders. Relax your chest wide open and notice the movement of your belly as you breathe. When you're ready, we'll slowly change sides. So you can lift your knees up and gently sway them over to the left. Maybe bringing your head back to neutral, or you could turn it off towards your right armpit. Relax your hands and just allow your fingers to curl in naturally. Soften all of your facial features. And listen to the sound of your breath. And slowly come back to neutral, bring your knees back in, head back in line with your neck, and then draw your knees in, taking one hand to each kneecap, and just lightly pressing your hands down as you push your knees back into your hands. So you're not using the full strength of your effort, it's just a mild engagement. And this can help to ensure there's a natural curve in your lumbar spine and decompress any tension that may have accumulated there. Now circle your knees around a few times one way, and then a few times the other. It's like you're tracing the outer rim of your sacrum. And then give your knees a good hug, maybe aiming them towards each armpit. And then release your legs, and we'll come into Savasana, or corpse pose. So I'll give you a couple different options here. If you'd like a traditional Savasana, you could lie flat on your back, legs spread open, feet flop to the sides, arms away from your ribs, palms turned up. And close your eyes and rest. If this causes any pain in your low back or your knees, you can bend your knees, feet to the floor, and allow the legs to rest into one another. And if you'd like one more option, you could take your legs up a wall or rest your calves on the seat of a chair. So if you're doing legs up the wall, which is a restorative pose, you'll sit with one hip at the wall. Start to help yourself down onto your back, simultaneously bringing your legs to rest on the wall. And depending on the stretch in the backs of your legs, you might need to scooch a little further away to ease off a bit. And this can be nice because we did a lot of strengthening for the legs today. So whichever variation you prefer, just make yourself comfortable. Savasana is like the reward after your practice. You just get to bask in all of the energy that you refined, that you created through your breath. Let all of your efforts go, relaxing any residual tension across your face, your arms, your legs, your back, chest, belly, hands and feet. Just let it all go. Let your breath be effortless and natural. Start to deepen your breath in and out through your nose. And as you breathe in, feel the energy of the breath. 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 Feel the energy of the breath each deeper breath, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and if you like, you can turn your head from side to side. If you're at the wall, you can start to slide your feet down, draw your knees in towards your chest, and roll to one side. If you're on your back, just take your knees in and come to lie on one side for a moment. And when you're ready to transition again, use your hands to support you. Press yourself up to have a seat on a blanket or on a chair, whichever you prefer. I'll just read you this passage one more time. Yoga means to be in perfect tune. Body, mind, and spirit, and the existence are in absolute harmony. When you fine-tune yourself to a point where everything functions so beautifully within you, the best of your abilities will naturally flow out of you. And take your hands together in front of your chest. And notice how you feel. Notice your energy. If you like, you can remind yourself of your intention. So you can create whatever energy it is that you desire throughout your day. And take a deep breath in. And exhale out your mouth. Rub your hands together, warm yourself up. And once your hands are warm, cover your eyes. Blink your eyes open and take your hands all the way back down in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you.